June 14th, 2005, 6:45 p.m. Oprah Winfrey walks into Hermès' flagship store on Rue de Faubourg Saint-Honor in Paris. She's worth $2.7 billion. She's one of the most recognizable faces on the planet. She wants to buy a handbag for a friend. The store is closing in 15 minutes. But she's Oprah Winfrey. A sales associate looks at her and says, "We're closed for a private event." The store wasn't closed. There was no private event. They just didn't want to let her in. When the story broke, the internet exploded. How dare they refuse Oprah? But Hermès didn't apologize for refusing her. They apologized for the publicity. Because here's what nobody tells you. Hermès doesn't want your money, even if you're Oprah. What they want is something much harder to give. The Birkin bag was created by accident. 1984, Jane Birkin, British actress, singer, style icon, is on a flight from Paris to London. Sitting next to her, Jean-Louis Dumas, CEO of Hermès. She's struggling with her handbag, contents spilling everywhere. She complains, "There's no perfect handbag, either it's too small or too structured." Dumas, intrigued, sketches a design on a sick bag. Right there, mid-flight. A year later, the Birkin was born. It wasn't planned, it wasn't focus grouped, it was a conversation between two people on a plane. And within 10 years, it became the most sought-after bag in the world. Not because Hermès marketed it, but because they made it nearly impossible to buy. Today, Hermès produces roughly 120,000 Birkins per year. Sounds like a lot, right? There are 60 million millionaires in the world. If every millionaire wanted one Birkin, Hermès could supply 0.2% of them. But here's the thing, even if you have the money, even if you're in that 0.2%, you still can't just buy one, because Hermès doesn't sell Birkins, they grant them. Here's how it actually works. You walk into Hermès, you ask for a Birkin. The sales associate, let's call her Claire, smiles politely. "We don't have any Birkins available right now, but I can add you to the list." The list. No one knows how long the list is. No one knows where you are on it. There's no official waitlist, no queue system, no transparency. It's entirely at Claire's discretion. And Claire is watching everything. What else are you buying? How much are you spending? Did you buy the $800 scarf, the $1,200 bracelet, the $3,500 leather wallet? Because here's the unspoken rule. If you want a Birkin, you have to prove you're a client of the house. Not just someone with money, a client. Someone who buys consistently. Someone who knows the collection. Someone who, frankly, doesn't need the Birkin to prove anything. Victoria Beckham reportedly has over 100 Birkins. You know how she got them? She didn't ask. Think about that. Victoria Beckham has 100 plus Birkins. Not because she wanted them more, but because she never asked. She spent years buying other Hermès products. Scarves, belts, shoes, gloves. She built a relationship. And then, maybe, Claire mentions, "We have a Birkin available. Would you be interested?" But if you walk in for the first time and say, "I want a Birkin," even if you're a billionaire, Claire will smile and say no. I experienced this firsthand. A few years ago, I walked into Hermès in New York. I'd done my research. I knew the game. I bought a scarf, $450, then a belt, $850, then a small leather good, $1,200. Over 6 months, I spent nearly $3,000. Then I asked about a Birkin. The sales associate, her name was Sophie, smiled warmly. "Let me see what we have." She came back 5 minutes later. "We don't have any Birkins available right now, but I've added you to our client list." Translation, you haven't spent enough. You're not ready. I never got the Birkin. Not because I couldn't afford it, but because I hadn't earned it yet. Because the bag isn't the product. Access is the product. So why does Hermès do this? Why reject paying customers? Why make it so hard? Because the moment everyone can buy a Birkin, it stops being a Birkin. Let me show you what I mean. In the early 2000s, Louis Vuitton bags were everywhere. Literally everywhere. Real ones, fake ones. You couldn't tell the difference on the street. And what happened? The people who could afford real Louis Vuitton stopped buying it. Not because the quality dropped, but because the signal dropped. When a product is too accessible, even visually, it loses its function. And the function of luxury isn't utility, it's a distinction. Hermès learned this lesson and built a system to prevent it. By saying no, by making you wait, by making you prove yourself, by making you spend thousands on scarves before they'll even consider selling you a bag. They're not protecting the product, they're protecting the scarcity. And scarcity, real or artificial, is what makes luxury work. Think about it. A Birkin costs $10,000 to $500,000 depending on the leather and hardware. The reason it holds value, sometimes appreciating 14% per year better than gold, isn't the craftsmanship. It's the rejection. Every person who can't buy one makes the people who can more special. The exclusion is the feature. The gate that doesn't open is what makes being inside valuable. And here's the uncomfortable truth. You don't just need money to get through that gate. You need time. You need proximity. You need to know the game exists. Most people don't even know there's a game. They see a handbag, but what they're actually looking at is a wall. So, here's what Hermès actually sells. Not bags, not leather goods. They sell the feeling of being chosen, the right to be considered, the knowledge that you passed a test most people don't even know exists. And Oprah, worth billions, beloved by millions, failed that test. Not because she wasn't rich enough, but because she wasn't in enough. She hadn't played the game, and the game doesn't care who you are. It only cares if you know the rules. So, next time you see someone carrying a Birkin, remember, they didn't just buy a bag, they earned permission. And you, like Oprah, like most billionaires, probably never will. That's not an insult, that's the system working exactly as designed.